Hello and welcome to Digitech. Today we're going to do a JavaScript program called Say What to learn a little bit around buttons and getting some input from the user. It's also going to use the output to output what some text onto the web page. So here I'm starting a project, same as always, just creating a folder. It doesn't matter where, it's up to you to manage your files and folders. But once you've got the empty folder, you can open VS Code, click File, and then click Open Folder, find your folder, and once you're open, it's ready to start our project. So the first file in our project is going to be an HTML file to interface with the JavaScript program. It's not going to be a very robust HTML file. It's not going to contain all of the things that you'd expect to see, but it's going to have enough in there, and only just enough, that we can interact with the JavaScript program, test a few things, and get a feel for how some of these features work. So I've just got a heading that says Say What, and then I'll right click and open with Live Server the the VS Code extension for hosting the site. And it also has the live reload function. So when you save it, it automatically updates that web page. So I'm just adding some text to the front page to check that that's working. Don't need that now. So once I've done that, the first thing is to connect to the jQuery library. The jQuery library contains lots of helper functions, code that will save you time and effort, and it's just a useful thing to use when you're learning because it removes some of the unnecessarily complicated stuff. So I'm just going to copy the link, paste it into the head section. It's got a couple of extra attributes there, the integrity and the cross origin. They're not strictly necessary in this case because we're just learning, and they can be a bit intimidating. So I'm just going to remove them and just leave that source attribute pointing to the library. Next, we're going to start writing our own JavaScript, and the file is going to be called saywhat.js. The .js indicates it's written in JavaScript. And the first line is console log to say that the script is starting. This is a very useful little thing to add to the top of the scripts when you're starting out, because quite often it can be an easy bug to overlook that your code's not actually linked, and that console log will indicate that it's definitely linked. So I'm creating the link here, a new script tag, and the source is our own JavaScript file, so what.js, and I've added the defer keyword at the end there. That'll stop the browser from running that code until the page is completely loaded. That avoids some bugs where you're trying to set variables or add things to a paragraph that doesn't exist. And looking at the console, we can see that the console log is there, which means that our link has worked and we're ready to start building the Say What. First thing to start off with is a button. I'm going to give it the ID btn say. That btn, obviously short for button, is quite useful when you're in the JavaScript, so you can kind of get a feel for which IDs go with which things, and you don't have to refer back to the HTML so much. So our button just says Say What on the label, and then we're going to have an output paragraph with an ID text what. That txt indicates that the output should be in the form of text, as opposed to like number or date or anything like that. Starting off with our code, $ brackets quotes, and then hashtag button say. So that is our button, and you can tell just because we put that BT in, that makes it really easy. The .click indicates that this code inside the brackets should run when I click it. And then you've got to do some extra brackets and stuff that are just part of the JavaScript way of doing things. That's two normal brackets, and then like an arrow made out of an equals and a pointy bracket, and then some curly brackets. After that, we're going to connect to the output paragraph. So the $ bracket quotes, hashtag text what, and that is a paragraph on the HTML. Then we're going to set the text to be what. So when you press that button say button, the text paragraph is going to update to say what. And there it goes. As soon as you click the button, your what appears. As any good program should have, we should add in some comments So the first comment is above the click, which is going to indicate that when the button is clicked. And in this way, we're just describing in English what the code is doing. So just in case the person who's looking at it doesn't actually know how to read JavaScript, or they don't want to have to try and figure it all out, you can just skim over the comments and get it in English exactly what it means. And that line is putting some text on the paragraph. That'll do it for Say What. We've learned how to input using buttons and reviewed outputting to the page.